And we're live, though we don't know for how long. So, welcome to Losing Your Jam Mind with Andrea. Hi, Mike.
Hello, Andrea. How are you?
I'm doing all right now. It's good that the internet is working. Technology can be a wonderful thing when it does the thing it's supposed to do.
I always like to joke that there is a reason that I work with the 2,000-year-old book that hasn't had an update. I do not like technology. I do not like it, Sam. I am.
Yeah. I sometimes feel like technology has a personal vendetta against me, particularly vis-a-vis printers and things like that, that like they can smell your fear. And I swear to God, particularly at the studio, sometimes I'll be trying to get something to print and just like doing all the things that, as far as I know, I should be doing, and it won't work. Aaron will do the exact same thing and it'll work fine. So it's hard to not take it personally sometimes.
I've named the gremlin that lives in the photocopier at the church Kevin, because of course it's named Kevin. So
Yeah.
now whenever there's a problem with anything, it's, oh, Kevin, go home. No one likes you.
Yeah, Kevin's a good name to give us a bad spirit.
Yeah, definitely.
So just to explain for those who might be watching, theoretically, so Mike and I have known each other for how, three years now? Four?
4 or 5, probably 4.
Yeah, because it would have been so. Mike is in the choir that Colton and I are both in Halcyon Chamber Choir, and he is a minister with the Anglican Church of Canada, and was nice enough to do the ceremony for my dad's funeral back in December, which it's one of those things that you don't think that about dealing with until it happens, and then when it does, if you have friends within the community, let's say, it's good to have friends to help guide you in a very stressful situation. So
Absolutely.
yeah, but obviously not all the times that we have had have been funeral related.
It's true. We are friends beyond just that.
Yeah. So obviously the first question that I try to ask everybody, Mike, have you lost your damn mind?
Well, I'm not sure. Does growing a co-beard 19 count as losing your damn mind? Because I cannot pull this off. And I'm not shaving it until I can go out in public with people again.
Oh, well, when you sent me that one text saying I'm trying to not make bad decisions, and I thought you were talking about like drinking or something, and then when I saw the mustache, I was like, oh, why do I feel that there are going to be mutton chops involved in this?
They're coming.
So I'm just noticing I'm getting that buzzing sound with your audio again. So I wonder if it reset. We were having some technical problems before we went live because for some reason the internet just crapped out on us. So just to be advised, we might end up, if we have those problems again, we might end up just bailing.
Fair enough. Did it come back?
Yeah, and there's no buzzing now. So
Excellent. There we go.
so yes, Mike, have you lost, besides the mustache, like have you been finding that you feel adversely affected by COVID-19?
I certainly feel busier. I look at people who've sort of been able to stay at home and are trying to adjust to a new situation, somewhat enviously, actually, because this whole thing has just thrown my world up topsy-turvy. It's made me really question, as someone whose role is typically sacramental ministry, which is a fancy way of saying like priestly stuff, like presiding and leading worship services and gathering people together for studies and hangouts and things like that. All of that is stuff that we can't do. So we're still trying to maintain the basis of how do we have community, how do we build connection, but when we can't actually get together. So it's been a massive learning curve. I've learned more about YouTube and copyright infringements and ring lighting and wide angle lenses for your iPad and you name it than I ever wanted to know.
Yeah.
ever. So I think in this case, yeah, I'm losing my damn mind.
Yeah, well, so like I personally at this point in my life, I'm not a churchgoer. Historically, at one point, I was a churchgoer, but found that the minister in my church is just a jackass and ruined the experience for me. But I will say that while of course it's nice to be able to sleep in on a Sunday morning, I do miss that sense of community that the church provided for me. And
Yeah.
like there were some absolutely lovely people that I knew in the church, and I don't really get to see them terribly often, other than a few of them that I'm friends with on Facebook. But so yeah, I can imagine it would be very hard when you're going from a position where you get to see your congregation every week and to visit with people. And because I've mentioned a couple times on the show so far, like it's great that we have this technology that we can have a conversation like this, but it's not the same as being in person and experiencing people's vibe and energy. And just yeah, it's not the same.
Well, not only that, but every different way of connecting on the internet has its own unique sort of flavor to it. Whether you're live streaming on Facebook, or this is my first time on whatever program this is, or Zoom, or whether you're trying to make YouTube videos or this, each one has its own gifts, but it also has its own incredible drawbacks. So yeah, I find after 4, 5, 6 hours of Zoom meetings, I am just wiped because you're trying to read the other person's expressions, and their tiny little squares in the screen, and you're looking and are you raising your hand? Do you want to talk? And there's all that internet lag. So in a normal conversation, you can pick up on the subtle cues, but on a thing like this, sometimes you'll go quiet for a bit, and then you start talking really, really fast as the internet connects it and connection backs up, and you're just like, ah, what's going on? So yeah,
Yeah.
it's exhausting.
Yeah, yeah. So have the people from your congregation been I'm sure you've been getting feedback one way or the other, because that's just sort of the way it is. You're the go-to.
No comment.
If we got a problem with it, you will hear about it. But have they said anything in terms of how this is affecting their lives, and how I assume most of them would prefer to be seeing each other in person and partaking of the service in person. So how is that affecting them as a group?
It's interesting to see group dynamics. It's interesting to see how it goes along. Most are really appreciative of the ways that we're attempting to connect. A number want to know that there is the attempt to connect, but not actually have to do it themselves.
Right.
So they want to know that something's going on. So sometimes one of my colleagues is doing a Bible study in which over Zoom, in which two people show up. And like that's wonderful that two people are participating, but she's wanting to pull back on it because it's a lot of work for two people, and people are going, no, you have to do it. It has to be an offering, and it's like, well then come. So yeah, it's interesting. Most people in the congregation, I think, are handling it pretty well. Since I deal with typically a congregation that's older than I am, some of them remember earlier situations of scarcity and world-changing events, and so they're sitting back through this, going, "Hey, you know what? We've been here before. We've done it. We're getting through. We're okay. We know the drill." So that's been really interesting to see the older generation just kind of being steady with it as it goes through. They're nervous, of course, because they're in a higher risk bracket, but
Yeah.
at the same time, they're sort of a calming and steadying voice of the world. So
Yeah.
interesting to see.
I'm getting that buzzing sound again, and it's almost like feedback, because it almost seems like it's got multiple layers of it. It's so strange. Again, technology is great when it does the things that it's supposed to.
Am I giving you a lot of feedback now, or?
That sounds clear as a bell. So, and of course, the other thing is whether or not that's actually translating into the recording or not, because
Yeah.
that could just be something on my end. So,
No, you're not the first person who said that, so it's probably me.
Okay. Well,
So if it happens, just let me know and I'll flip it around and see what happens.
okay. So, I had another question that I was going to ask you. Have you been finding that this has been making you anxious at all? Like, not only because like with the isolation that a lot of us are having to deal with now, but also because your job has changed so much since this started. Because we saw you the other day, we had to, at a socially respectable distance, we needed to get a signature for basically a witness, and only certain people could do it. But you were talking about how you're basically doing film work like 40 hours a week now. So how is
Mhm.
that changing your life?
I have not had a day off since we went into quarantine. Oh, maybe I've had one or two. I managed to get a couple hours a day, but other than that, yeah, it's been incredible. There's a huge need in the community to connect.
Mhm.
There's a desire for a semblancy of normalcy, even if it's slightly different. And so trying to keep at least something for people to do on a Sunday has been a big priority, but also the phone calls. And I've really noticed how different generations want to be contacted.
Mhm.
The oldest generation that we have needs phone calls. And if you're sending emails or doing YouTube videos, you're not doing anything. You need to phone them.
Yeah.
And then the generation younger, it's only emails. They don't care about Facebook posts or social media things. They need the emails. And then below that, it's the Facebook and the YouTube videos. And then below that, it's something called TikTok. And I'm too old for that crap. So
Yes, I've heard of TikTok. I don't actually know what it is, other than that some hilarious results end up getting posted on Facebook. But
yeah,
that's all I know of TikTok.
same. I can't be bothered. I'm doing enough. Young people, you're on your own. Get off my
Yeah.
yard.
I think it's very interesting, your comment about the difference between generations and how they want to be communicated with. Because even just so, Aaron and I we typically have a gallery show in the spring with the grade 12 students that we work with, and we've had to shut it down because obviously we can't. We usually have like 300 people come out, and that's no bueno for right now. So we are attempting, using StreamYard, this platform that we're on right now, we're going to attempt to do sort of a live gallery show, just so that we can still be socially distant and safe in our homes, but give the students something to celebrate still, and something to look forward to. And we were debating whether or not we should have it broadcasting to our Facebook page or to YouTube, because a lot of the kids' parents are on Facebook. Most of the kids are not on Facebook. They don't use it, or at least not the way, say, our generation does. And that's fine. So we had to do a vote, and it seemed kind of split toward in the middle, although more towards Facebook. And then we had a bunch who are also like, yeah, either platform works, because if they want to interact with us, they have to be logged in. So we were like, all right, well, we don't want to leave anybody out. And I imagine that's probably the problem that you have too, because you don't
Yeah,
want anybody to feel like they're left out when they're already feeling isolated from each other. And
yeah,
yeah, so I
for
don't
sure.
envy you.
Well, we're doing our best, and it's a cliche, but it's pretty good. But for the grace of God, so
Yes. So what do you miss most about the before times?
the before times. Finally, the before times were
Yeah.
London fogs. I miss a London fog. It's the first thing I'm gonna get when it's sort of back to normal. I'm going into Stone's Throw down by the university, and I'm getting the London fog. I'm gonna sit there, I'm gonna drink it, and I'm gonna be happy.
Yeah.
I miss it so much.
Yeah.
So much. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's just that freedom to be able to go out and
Mhm.
do what you gotta do and spend some time places that isn't, the prison of your home.
Yeah. Yeah. Starting to get the buzzing again, unfortunately. But talking with a couple of people in earlier episodes who are self-proclaimed introverts. And they've talked about how, generally speaking, in some ways, that it's been good because, of course, they're the ones who, like, if plans get canceled, they're like, oh, good. They sort of breathe a little sigh of relief. They don't have to perform. They don't have to
Yeah.
worry about anything. But at the same time, once again, it comes down to, like, it's your choice whether or not you're going out. And now that that choice has kind of been removed, and I don't know, I'm kind of freaking out a little bit since they're talking about reopening the province right away. And we had another jump in cases in the last couple of days. So I feel like, no, 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 no. As much as I want to be out there and I want to go shopping and I want to have coffee with people and I want to have a meal in or sit down restaurant and stuff like that, it's kind of terrifying still.
Yeah, it's going to change so much of how we do things.
Hmm.
Like one-way grocery aisles is a thing now.
Hmm.
That I made the mistake of going down the wrong aisle because I had no idea, and man, did I get glared at. We're living in and creating a whole ton of new social norms and ways of doing things. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't think the world is going to be the same after this. And I
Now,
hope that through it all, we develop a sense that community is important, more important than we realized.
yeah.
Um, I've loved seeing people out going for walks, keeping sort of a respectable distance, but
Mhm.
being outside and trying to be healthier and finding things to do together. That's been really lovely to see. And I hope that we sort of value uh, in-person relationships more than we do or we did in the before time, because it was so easy to surround yourself on the internet with people who think exactly the same as you,
Yeah.
and so the rest of the world seemed crazy. Now the rest of the world is crazy, and so it would be nice to surround ourselves with the people that we're next to, close to, and really come to a sense of community again.
Yeah, and hopefully another thing that will come out of this, because I think we really do live in a consumer society. Hey, having a bad day, buy something. Internet shopping, shopping in real life, like just going for coffee or going for extra meals
Mhm.
when generally the number one complaint among all of us is, oh, I need to stop spending so much money. But it's one of those things that it triggers, like, your, I think it's your dopamine receptors, and it
Mhm.
makes you feel like you've got control, and even if it just, the spike lasts for just a little while, it feels like you're doing something even when all you're doing is increasing your personal debt. And so I've been kind of amazed at how much I haven't been spending any money, and how much I've been arguably saving by virtue of just being at home. So
Right.
I kind of hope that that's something that continues on for a lot of
Yeah.
people, because I know that it's finances are a concern for a lot of
Oh,
people
for
all
sure.
the time. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and I'm just getting a little bit of their buzzing again. So it's, I don't know if it's just that, if things are like building up every time there's a lag or not.
I'm not sure, but it's fairly easy to correct it with a click of the button, but
Yeah.
just need to know when it happens. So anybody who's watching, sorry about this. Technology, yay.
Well, I guess if anybody complained, we could be like, we're not getting paid for this and nobody's paying to
Yeah,
do this. So how dare you?
don't worry. I've got a whole round bin to file all the complaints in.
Yes, the special file has been reserved for a lot of things these days. So, all right. So I'm just noticing that we're getting close to the 20-minute mark. So
Okay.
what are some things that you have been using as like go-tos to either alleviate stress since this has started, or just when you need a chuckle, or you're like, I just need something that's going to make
Hmm.
me smile? Do you have any go-tos?
I've got a couple of go-tos. You've got the definite sort of priestly answer of prayer and meditation and those sorts of things, which is great. But sometimes those can even build up on you. Like, I should be doing this, and that's not always fun or a great place that you want to be. So what I've found, exercise has been huge for me.
Mhm.
I managed to go on a 100-kilometer bike ride the other day, which was super impressive. I'm really proud of that. Took 4.5 hours, but did
Are you
100K.
are you out on the highway when you're doing that,
Yeah,
or
I go from my house out sort of to the east end, get on the new bypass, and
Mhm.
go on the bypass all the way around back up to Highway 11, and then back in through the city through the bike paths.
Wow.
Um, Super nice. It was great. So just a chance to get out. I've been doing 8K walks every day, even if I'm on my phone talking to people or answering emails. I'm still out walking, so that's been super nice.
Yeah.
Really, really appreciated that. And Yeah, that's been a key thing. And for Chuckles, I just ran across a new British Facebook page. It has something to do with Tommy, and Tommy is a voice character that somebody puts on that sounds like a little boy, and he phones up and prank calls different people as a 3 year old going on 6 with his cute little British accent, and asks all these strange and bizarre questions. Oh, it's delightful. I laughed so hard.
You just actually made me think of a book that so many moons ago I used to work at Chapters, and yeah, it was great working as a cashier because so many books would like come across the desk, and it's stuff that I would never seek out on my own, but it's like I would just find things either through the work or just like wandering through the store like on a coffee break or something like that. And it was, I think it was called Letters from Little Billy or something like that. And
Nice.
it was this guy would write in a persona of like a kindergarten or grade one kid and send letters to like presidents or CEOs and stuff like that. And he would ask sometimes really pointed questions actually,
Mhm.
but other times not. And I feel like I'm gonna need to maybe put that in the comments just in case.
For sure. The link that I found is called Tiny Tim's Adventures.
Okay.
So look it up on Facebook. It is fabulous. The one where he calls a delivery driver is probably the best. I wept. I was laughing so hard.
um okay, getting the buzzing again. So maybe just even hit the switch like every time every time there's a gap in the conversation. um
Sure.
uh just speaking of like sort of British comedy, are you familiar with Cabin Pressure?
No.
So Cabin Pressure was a radio play that the BBC put on. I don't even know how long ago it started, but Benedict Cumberbatch is one of the main actors who's in it, and it was before he. It started before he became famous for Sherlock, and then they did 26 episodes because it follows a small flight crew of MJN Air, and Cumberbatch plays Martin Creef, who's the pilot, but he's not a good pilot. Like he's only wanted to be a pilot his entire life, and basically he gets the job just for the experience sort of thing. And his co-pilot Douglas is like was in the RAF. He's like done the real work, and he was an alcoholic and all that. And just they play word games, and then the whole airline's run by Carolyn, and then her idiot son Arthur, who actually is the guy who wrote the entire thing. And they're about roughly half-hour episodes, and it's delightful. Like I think you would probably really like it. Hart actually knew all about it, our choir director, which was surprising because I don't know how many people in Canada listen to BBC radio plays.
Yeah, that's a little odd, but good for Hart.
Yeah. So yeah, like if you like wordplay and just really silly but clever in a very dry British humor kind of way, you'd probably really enjoy Cabin Pressure.
Nice. I'll look it up.
Yeah. All right, so we've talked about what you missed from the before times. We've talked about what you're looking forward to going back to the normal times. Just in general, is there anything else that you would like to share? Any thoughts or insights about the way the world is right now?
I I was going for a walk the other day, and as I was walking past all the houses, I kind of felt like I was walking through a prison with everybody having their different cells. And they might as well have bars on the windows of all the different houses. And it kind of made me sad. But I really think that through this, and because of this, society is going to change, and we're going to recognize that some of the things that we don't value, we need to value more. And I hope that that's true for what we're calling essential workers, which are basically slaves of capitalism.
Yeah.
And I think we need to recognize that, and we can change it. And I hope that if society gets together and we can do something about COVID-19, then we might have enough momentum to do something about global warming and climate change, and actually recognize that, hey, it's not out of our control. We can make a difference and do it. I really hope that this is a turning point for us.
Yeah. Yeah, I second that. I feel like there is still the divisiveness that seems sort of to be permeating society, and that I really do feel that social media is kind of making it worse. But it is good to see people posting good things, and in some case, like remarkable things as well. So let's hope that this is one of those scenarios where this is the arrow being dragged back before the launch forward. So hopefully, obviously, I'm sure nothing, or at least all of the world's problems aren't going to get solved in this. But let's hope that that we do have a spring forward.
Yeah, I really hope for that. I pray for it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for volunteering or agreeing, being voluntold to be a guest on the show tonight. And yeah, I hope that that you continue to help out your congregation in any way that you're able to, and that we'll all be able to visit in person again soon.
Absolutely. You too. Thanks for doing this. Thanks for providing an opportunity for place for people to talk and share this experience. It's an awesome thing you're doing.
Thanks. Okay, I'm going to keep you on the line, and we're going to end the broadcast. So, all right. Thanks. Bye.